Hello, welcome to this latest edition of Digital Badge Academy's webcast. I'm Jim Daniels, your co-host, here along with David Leeser, fellow co-host. And David, we have a little something different planned for today, right?
Yeah, what we're going to do today is, a lot of people are looking for ways to create a good pathway strategy with digital badges, not just working with one badge, but how do you take badges and create really a progression and a roadmap using them? And very few people know how to do it well. But one company that we've worked with knows how to do it very, very well, and we're going to give you a tour.
Yeah, exactly. And that company is called Interskill Learning. And I'll just say right up front, they have not paid us to do this or asked us to do this. We're doing this completely on our own. They're not even aware that we're doing this and have published this out. But to David's point, Interskill Learning, they have truly mastered the art and science of digital credentialing and how you can embed that into an online self-paced learning experience. Now, they're a commercial training provider. They focus specifically in the mainframe mainframe computing space. They're an IBM training partner, so the overwhelming amount of mainframe related education is delivered, online education, I should say, is delivered by Interskill Learning. So they have a long-term relationship with IBM, and they are also an authorized badge issuer of IBM, meaning although Interskill Learning has a direct relationship with the student, it's Interskill Learning that's developing all the education and hosting it. It's their business through this relationship with IBM. IBM has created digital credentials that are powered by Interskill, just simply meaning that these are digital credentials that are issued when you go through Interskill Learning's training. So we're going to take you through basically it's a tour of their website for all intents and purposes. And the whole point of all of this is we spend a lot of time in these webcasts talking about what you should do, what you can do, best practices, lessons learned, and things like that. And we just decided we wanted to show people what a really well um, designed and well executed digital credentialing program looks like. And even though this is a commercial education provider and it's online learning, the lessons to take away from this can be applied to any situation. So let me go ahead and
Yeah,
share
I was
the.
going to say, whether you're in higher ed, whether you're in a corporate setting, whether you're in a nonprofit, whether you're working with partners or vendors, this is the way to do it right.
And I'll share some statistics too that I know Interskill makes public, which are pretty amazing. So let me go ahead and share. So I've already navigated to Interskill Learning's homepage, and just to kind of introduce you to Interskill here and what they're in service of. You can see, as I mentioned before, they're really concentrated in the area of mainframe training and even specifically around IBM's mainframe training. There is surrounding technology and surrounding topic areas that they cover as well. But let's just start taking a tour here, and then we truly are just winging this, but there are some specific elements about this experience that I think are worth calling out. And the first thing here, obviously, this could be, you can imagine this being an internal LMS within your organization, or it could be, learning management system that's part of a higher education system, institution, whatever it might be. And the topic could be anything. One of the first things that you'll find here is a menu right in the main menu heading called IBM Credentials. And that is obviously to call attention right from the outset about the fact that there are credentials that are associated with this entire learning experience. Interskill has those broken down into two types. One type is skill badges, and the other type is professional certificates. The difference there is skill badges are what you earn along the way when you're navigating a learning pathway, and the professional certificate is what you are issued once you've completed a learning pathway. And some of these pathways are extensive, and you'll see this in just a moment. Can take months to actually complete and ultimately earn the professional certificate. But the key here is you hear people talk about badging pathways in that, and we want to show you what that literally looks like in practice when you associate it with learning plans and learning activities. So we'll start actually with professional certificates because that's the end game. Start with the end in mind, right? So we'll click on professional certificates here, and these are the different professional certificates that Interskill makes available to students that come in and enroll in their environment. And they have these arranged by different roles, which is a common thing within the mainframe world. So if we look here, we can see, for instance, let's look at mainframe systems operator. So here we are with the IBM mainframe systems operator certificate, and there's a few things to point out here. Every one of these certificates, the way they've positioned this credential in the website here with Interskill Learning and within the experience, they start out with a video. Now, I won't play the video, but suffice to say, it's about 4 minutes of really, really solid information about what to expect from the learning experience, what kind of outcomes it's intended to drive. There's information about the credential that you're going to earn, not just the certificate itself, but individual badges along the way. And this is something that they've put on the front end of every one of these learning pathways when a student comes in and starts to navigate them. They take this further, and I think this is really what's going to illustrate the concept of learning path of badged pathways. We can look at one of their learning plans.
And these are just PDFs, right? I mean, this is not something that anybody could do this.
So if we look at this, and some of this is going to be hard to read, but that's okay. Obviously, you can go to the website and pull these up and see them in detail if you have an interest. What we wanted to point out is when you look, well, first of all, what probably makes more sense is to scroll toward the bottom. And there is a legend. So each one of these elements that are defined within these pathways, there's a legend that goes with it. So you can see specific Interskill e-learning courses. Things in green represent assessments. Things in orange represent an exam, a final exam, right? An aggregate way of testing your knowledge in order to earn that final destination type of credential, the certificate itself. And then you can see anything that sits off to the left or the right. Those are the badges that you can earn throughout this pathway as you progress. So if we go back to the top, there are key milestones. And these aren't just tossed in at random. There's a lot of thought that they've put into this. And you have to reach a specific milestone, something that says, okay, I now have this body of knowledge, and this is a body of knowledge or skill that is important in order to be able to move to the next step, or it's something that would be resume worthy. It would come up in conversation with a manager or a recruiter, hiring manager, whatever it may be. But you can see here, right? You're going to be earning badges along the way. So when we talk about badging pathways, this is literally what it means when we talk about badging pathways. It's where you have really robust, structured learning pathways that get you from start to finish in in this case, a certificate level program, something that's going to play out in all likelihood over months. And it's these individual badges that are being earned, these skill badges that are being earned that provide additional granularity and additional context and provide information at just a more discrete level in terms of what really sits behind this certificate. Obviously, there's a lot that comes into play here for someone that's going to be navigating this learning pathway over several months. And so it's impossible to reflect 100% of that within the final certificate. So these individual skill badges are going to help back up that certificate with additional detail that a recruiter or a hiring manager, or maybe you're already, in a job and your current manager wants to, just have a better understanding and a better sense of
But
what
and
went into
also,
earning the certificate.
yeah, and Jim, and the big thing here too is also the progression. And I think a lot of people think that there should be an all or none macro credential because we've been conditioned to think that way with the college diploma. But when you start breaking it down the way they have, and you start saying, as you enter this pathway, you're going to start getting rewards along the way. Guess what happens? You increase your completion rates for your
Oh,
overall
absolutely.
certification.
Yeah. Yeah. And Interskill has seen that, right? They've seen the impact of this. If you had to spend months navigating this learning pathway before you ever saw your first credential, and that first and only credential was the certificate, the the completion rates would not be as high. Now, I don't have specific data relative to Interskill's enrollment versus completion rates, but I know that they run uh, pretty high. And I also know from conversations that I've had with Interskill CEO Darren Search that the ability to earn these badges throughout the learning pathway itself, these skill badges, helps keep people engaged, right? It reduces the dropout rate and it keeps people motivated to continue on that journey toward earning the final certificate. So,
Yeah, and we
uh,
have numbers from IBM. So when
yeah,
the IBM
absolutely.
Cloud Group wanted to, so the IBM Cloud Group, believed in the certification process, obviously, and but they didn't really believe in the badge program originally, and it was an all or none high stakes credential. They were originally reluctant to introduce badges, but after they introduced badges, to help people start to get really on the leaderboard or read the first chapter and get a reward, they found that their certification pass rates went up by 64%. So, there's a real benefit and it's a gamification strategy to get people onto the first page by giving them a reward. And then guess what happens? They'll go for the next one and the next one and the next one. And they get progressively more difficult, but it's not like jumping, the ladder, from one rung to the 10th. You take one rung at a time. Back to this page here, though, Jim, I think that that's important. And I don't know which one of these pages is the landing page, but one of the things we always talk about with badges, and I don't know, some people think that it's not necessary, but you have to create a landing page, a public facing external landing page for each one of your digital badges. This isn't that difficult to do, but it's something that's really important because if you want transparency in your program, and you want to build trust in your program and you want people to know what did it take to earn this badge, you have to have a public facing page, right, Jim?
You absolutely do, right? And that's exactly what Interskill has done. And they've done it again. If you want to look at this from a best practices standpoint, this is how to do it. So, like for their skill badges, for instance, there's the initial landing page has all of them listed, and they're arranged in a very logical way, right? They're arranged by role, so all the badges associated with the mainframe operator role are right here grouped together, and you can scroll down. Here's mainframe application programmer, but you can click on any one of these, and it takes you one level deeper where you can see information specific to this particular uh, badge, right? The skill badge. And it provides some information about what's represented. If what kind of outcome can you achieve by earning this badge? That's the description you see here. You can see the earning criteria. These are individual courses that have to be completed. You can see the total number of hours that's estimated are necessary to earn this badge. And then, of course, something else that Interskill does, they have the ability to host this environment for the benefit of other companies that want to take advantage of their learning for the benefit of their employees. So IBM, for instance, again, through the relationship they have with Interskill, uses this training for the benefit of its own employees. Kyndryl is another company that uses Interskill's learning for the benefit of their employees. So if you're an employee of IBM or Kyndryl and you're interested in this, you would literally click on one or the other buttons here to take you into where you would actually enroll for these courses, right? But to your point, these landing pages are hugely important, right? It provides context. If we go back one level,
And it's not complicated to do. I mean, when you think about
no, not
and
at
the
all.
URL for that, you now you have a URL that you can put into the metadata in the badge.
Yeah.
So
And and it's important to understand each badge within the context of a broader constellation of badges that can be earned. That's why they have these things arranged by role type here. So all of the badges that are relevant to the mainframe operator role are listed here, and so on, and and so forth. Um, and then, of course, you can see that context, right? Putting these individual badges into context also happens within those PDF based learning roadmaps that we were showing earlier.
from
But
a
it doesn't.
visual representation, though, Jim, real quick, from a visual representation, I don't know
Mhm.
if you know what the colors mean, but certainly on the lower right-hand corner, that shows the level the level for the badge, right?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it's important we not gloss over that. So this is the visual design taxonomy, or sometimes referred to as visual design language, is something that IBM put in place around the badges. So even IBM authorized issuers these days have to comply and use this same visual design taxonomy. And there are a couple of things here. Anything that is red um, is intermediate level, and there are four levels that exist within the four levels of achievement in terms of learning and development that exist within the IBM credentialing ecosystem. There's foundational, there's intermediate, there's advanced, and then there's mastery. So this metaphor you see in the lower right hand corner, like a Wi-Fi signal kind of metaphor, helps visualize that. So this is what we're looking at here. This first badge is an intermediate level. So literally it says intermediate. That's one of the best practices. Say what you mean. If this is an intermediate level credential, it makes sense to have that reflected in the visual taxonomy. And then that's also reinforced through this metaphor that's included in the lower right-hand corner. You can see blue is advanced, green, and I know there's some green here. Yep, is foundational. I don't know if there's any mastery. I don't think there's mastery level. We'll scroll down here, but if it were, it would be purple, and I just know that from being familiar with IBM's visual design taxonomy. So that helps as well, right? So if you're a learner, it helps so that you can understand. Oh, this advanced here. In all likelihood, there are prerequisites that go with this. You can see the earning criteria. If you dig into this earning criteria, you're going to find out that it sits at some point in a learning pathway based on those PDF learning pathways that we were looking at earlier. You can see where it sits within that pathway. Uh, so yeah, really important. And again, not to overstate, the whole aspect of visual design, but I think the main thing here is just keep it simple and say what you mean. Don't clutter the badges with a lot of unnecessary things. That's what IBM has done. They've just kept them very simple, um, and use metaphors and wording that helps the consumer as well, right? This could be a potential hiring manager, for instance, that's looking at your credentials that you've earned, and they can see at a glance that, okay, this is an advanced level topic this individual has achieved. Let me go in and look and see what that entails, what they had to do to earn that, as an example. And
What's nice
then,
about this too, just real quick, Jim, what's
yeah,
nice about this as well is that when you create a landing page like this, not only do you build trust and transparency and give, the consumer of the badge, which is typically an employer, the opportunity to see what did it take to earn that badge. But that data itself can be used for other purposes. And one of them, I think, is for equivalence. So if you wanted to see what the equivalence is, it's this is good practice from a hygiene perspective as well, making sure you have the right data out there. So when we start getting to the point where we want to see interoperability and equivalence in badges, the Interskill model is a great model.
absolutely. Yeah, no question. And and they've been offering credentials for years now. Interesting statistic while it's on my mind here, so I don't forget it. Before Interskill had introduced the credentialing into their learning platform, I think they were delivering in the neighborhood of 200 to 250,000 hours of online learning every year. And nowadays, it's approaching 1 million hours of learning that they're delivering over the course of a year. In fact, in 2023, I believe it was over 900,000 hours. And now it's not just because of badging or credentialing or the way that they have woven it into the fabric of that whole experience they provide. You know, they literally have focused on every aspect of it: content quality, variety of content modalities and types, having simulations. It's a really, really rich experience end to end that they've provided. But again, Darren Search, the CEO of Interskill, will tell you straight up that having the credentialing integrated in a way that just makes it becomes intrinsic with the whole experience, the whole learning experience, and that is the key thing. And that's what has made their program so successful. Incredible high acceptance rates. They don't have any of these kinds of issues that you hear with some badging programs where badges aren't being accepted at a very high rate, or they're not being shared socially out on professional networking sites like LinkedIn. Um, they have none of those problems, and you can see why. This last piece I wanted to point out here, I'm actually logged in as a student right now. Now, I have not taken any of the training here. They were nice enough to provide me with this trial experience here, but it's just to point out again how they have woven in the whole badging experience. So right here in my homepage and my account on Interskill, I can see news about, okay, first of all, I can see any courses that I'm signed up for. I can go in and look at the learning plans. We looked at one of those earlier. I can enroll in courses. There's information on badges. So I can go in here if I want to actually search and make a decision on what I want to take in the way of training based on badges. I can do that here. More information, I can enroll. So there's a couple of ways I have to enroll. I can go in and follow these badges and enroll in that way, or I can go in and look at a course catalog. No matter how I do it, the awareness that of where badges can be earned is ever present. It's always there. And anything that's new that's come along, for instance, here's 3 new certificates programs that they have launched, and that information is there. Any badges that I've earned, there's a place where those are held. Same thing with certificate credentials as well. It'll give me a count of how many of these certificates I've earned, how many badges that I've earned. So it'll, not to beat a dead horse, so to speak, but as you can see, everywhere you go inside this ecosystem, the badging and the credentialing is woven into every process and every step.
And I think that, one of the models out there that a lot of people refer to, and for good reason, because it's good, is the Salesforce Trailhead model. And it is excellent. But this comes close. I mean, this is a way that anybody that's watching this can create a program like this with a website structure like Interskill and some simple authoring tools. I mean, literally PowerPoint and PDFs.
Yeah, exactly. They also have how-to videos, and I won't take you there, but they have a how-to video that covers badging and what that process looked like, as far as getting your account created over on Credly, who provides the actual engine or the platform or the service of actually issuing badges. So it's just very complete. It's very thorough. It's laid out very logically, and it covers everything. And the end result is an experience that, quite frankly, I've not come across anything that really exceeds it So this just serves as a really good example. Anyone looking to build a digital credentialing program, integrate digital credentialing within their L&D environment. Again, it doesn't matter if you're someone in the financial industry or healthcare industry, or you're an educational institution. The best practices and the lessons learned that you can pick up from looking at how Interskill has approached this will apply to all of those scenarios.
All right, well, that's good. I think this was a training video, really, to teach people how to create pathways and how to present them on a website.
Yeah, it is. And I refer clients there, right? Just about every client that I work with, that I spend time consulting with, I will take them on this tour, right? Which is one of the reasons why we decided just to create a short video here on it. But it's always good to see how somebody is doing it when they're doing it well. And again, this serves that need very effectively.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Are you looking to launch a digital badging program or improve an existing one? Look no further than Digital Badge Academy. Our highly popular online masterclass will help you gain the skills and insights necessary to achieve success. Enroll now and start learning today.